Cents Per Mile, featuring Charles Gracie and Paul Gibson, with loads of recruiting and marketing experience and backed by the largest driver audience in the world. We deliver carriers the driver perspective, find solutions, and help make sense make sense.
Thank you for tuning in to Cents Per Mile. I'm your host, Charles Gracie.
And I'm your co-host, Paul Gibson. Yep, what are we talking about this week, Charles?
Well, I found this cool app that can replace like what you do, what a couple producers do, what drivers do. I think we're going to talk about AI taking the wheel.
Yeah. Yeah, it's taking a few things. So, I mean, and that's what's crazy is like, it's like, oh man, it's getting good here in a couple of years. I bet you no, I don't think people understand how exponential this is growing. And just at the level that it goes, like we're getting close to that point to where it's not going to go backwards. It's not really going to stall. It's exponential at this point. It is coming. And, so it's like a lot of people who are like, oh, autonomous trucks, those are years and years away. It's like, that's not how exponential growth works. This is like more in tune with like the Industrial Revolution, where you have, a few years and then everything changes, or the inventing of the printing press. Like it's a big deal.
Yeah. I mean, there's executives that are running companies with this. There's people writing content with this. There's people writing code with this. There's people trying to drive trucks with this. So we're going to dive into it.
Yep. All right. Well, all right. Already heavy. So, but to lighten things up, here's the things we have to do every episode. So we are on Apple Music. We are on Amazon Music. We are on Spotify. We are on YouTube. We are everywhere that you get your podcasts. So if you could go like, subscribe, rate wherever you consume those, and it will get us more momentum and put us further out there.
Yeah, and speaking of being further out there, you can also go to centspermilepodcast.com. You could suggest a topic to be a guest, to bring yourself on as a sponsor, and yeah, it's a pretty good site. You should check it out.
Sponsors? Who's our sponsor this week, Charles?
We got TAFS, where factoring can be fun. Check out TAFS at TAFS.com.
All right, well, it's time to go to the news. Kind of. All right, so we've done this once a while back, sort of. So we decided to, instead of like news this week, because our makes sense when we get there is very much newsworthy. We decided to just kind of look at some AI and look at where it's at. And I thought it would be fun to have AI scrape the internet and make a personality profile for Charles and a personality profile for me. And we haven't looked at them. But we're going to read each other's right here on air. So, Charles, do you want to read mine first, or you want me to read yours first?
Oh, we should have screened these first.
We should have.
All right.
We should have.
Paul Gibson, the connector. Core drive, understanding through storytelling. Vibe, disarming, calm, funny in a way that makes you feel safe. Strengths, emotional intelligence, creative fluency, high social intuition, and deeply grounded. Social mode, warm in a group, magnetic one-on-one. Trust style, starts open, watches how you handle it. Conflict style, reflective, uses questions, not value. Picks his battles, but hits hard when he does. Your emotional landscape, fully attuned, feels what others feel and mirrors it back with insight. Your weakness trigger, manipulation, or shallow motives. And how you show you care, Paul. This is very Care-Berry, by the way. Makes you feel seen, builds a bridge back to yourself when you're lost. Like, can we ask AI to generate Paul into a Care Bear?
Maybe. Yeah. But I mean, even some of the strongest people lose their way sometimes, and just need somebody to remind them that, like, hey man, like, you're cool. You might not be that cool, so stop trying to be that. You're just a different kind of cool. It's fine. That actually, I mean, I think mine checks out.
So now we're going to go like to the next segment, right?
And I am kind of a Care Bear. Yeah, the next part of the segment where I read yours. Charles Gracie, the Challenger. Ooh. Core Drive, justice through truth. Yeah, you Boy Scout. Vibe, intimidating at first until you realize he's one of the only people who actually has your back. Strengths, hyperlogical, deeply loyal, clear communicator, built for hard conversations. That's fair. Social mode, one-on-one, dialed in. Crowds, controlled intensity. Trust style, earned, never assumed. Once you got it, you're in a circle for life. That checks. Conflict style, direct, doesn't avoid it, uses it as a tool for clarity. Yep. No, yeah. Emotional landscape, deep empathy buried under armor, doesn't show vulnerability easy, but feels it all. Yeah, I'm the Care Bear. Anyway, we'll get some behind the scenes sometimes. But anyway, weakness trigger. People who dodge responsibility or play dumb. That tracks. How he shows he cares. Defends you when you're not in the room and calls you out to protect you. Yeah, that also tracks. So, yeah, I mean, it doesn't do a bad job.
It might do our job one day. So,
yeah, no, that's insane. Speaking of doing my job, also, VO3, I was able to get access to it. And so I made this short 21-ish second clip about the driver shortage.
Driver shortage? There ain't no damn driver shortage. Just a job no one wants to do anymore. AI is about to drive these things soon anyway.
This industry just tries to fix the symptoms instead of the problems. Now they're just trying to eliminate the patients altogether.
I sort of disagree. There will be a shortage of drivers. They won't need them. Just like they won't need you behind that camera to make this video.
Yeah, so basically, you better learn to prompt, because if you don't learn to prompt, well, you're, it's kind of like, it's going to be kind of like looking for handmade products, I think, here soon.
Yeah, I don't think the landscape of how people select people for jobs is going to be the same in the future. I think it's going to come down to less of soft skills and more of your prompt skills.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of it too is more understanding your job, less of being able to do it. You might be good at your job, but if you don't understand how your job works in order to talk to the AI how to do it, even then, actually, AI agents, which we're not going to get into, are popping up. So actually, no, because then you'll just train them on how to do it right, and then they'll do it. We're just, it's kind of like tariffs. It's like where are we going to be soon? I don't know.
Speaking of which, I'm going to add to the news. There is some big news. So if you didn't get enough of me on Cents Per Mile, you can find me on Sirius Trucking Sense Monday through Friday from 3 to 6 p.m. on Road Dog Trucking Radio. Shameless plug.
Week number 2. Week number 1 went really well.
Yeah, it blew my expectations. The support of this industry has been fantastic. But I think the best compliment that we got was that it didn't feel like 3 hours.
Yeah, no, it did feel really fast. I'll give you that. You sound like you're having a lot of fun on there. Yeah, but speaking of fun, it's time to go behind the desk with Tenstreet.
All right, so we're going to go behind the desk. We got Bob Peckham with us from Tenstreet. How's it going?
Great, Charles. How are you doing?
I'm here. I'm above ground. We're talking about how AI is going to replace all of us. So, yeah, it's a great day.
So you got that going for you, which is nice.
So the AI conversation and its involvement in trucking, like I imagine with you being at Tenstreet and with all the different aspects of the industry you guys touch, you guys have a view on this.
We absolutely do. We're pretty active in AI right now. It's been our biggest growth segment the past 2 years, really. So
what's that look like with Tenstreet?
Well, there's a couple of components of it. Some of them are brand new as of a couple of weeks ago. But everything, sort of like Paul was saying, there's some tools to help from the fleet side to filter out drivers or with regards to their interaction with us. So we've started creating like fit scores and interest scores based on the way they interact with us, and us being the hiring fleets. We have some tools built in to support the fleets with regards to lightening up the load for the hiring and recruiting managers, but also to really start to automate some of the processes with regards to how the driver is going to be interacting with the fleet. If they have a problem, they can go into our Pulse app, which is our driver-focused app, and ask a question through like a messaging tool, which has an AI background on it. It also has people on the back end too, but the AI component, like if they said, hey, I'm having a problem with the truck, it'll route them right to the point. They'll go right into their maintenance side of the house. If they identify certain things, it'll take action. It's pretty neat. It's an augmentation, in my opinion, versus a replacement. One of the interesting things that I would say in the hiring and recruiting side of the industry is you really need to keep those drivers engaged right from the beginning. And what we're seeing is by using AI to augment the people, even off hours, we're able to address drivers and keep them engaged and in turn, hopefully capture that driver as an employee. Capture is probably a bad word to say, I guess, but to get a hold of that driver and bring them in as an employee.
Well, I think that's interesting. I know being in the recruiting side, I've seen those tools since you guys released them, and it was kind of cool to see the fitness scores and the engagement score that shows you their response and if they're actively engaged and whether they fit your hiring criteria and where they range on that. And I imagine it just gets stronger with time. The more that driver's in the system, the more that driver's engaging, the more that driver applies to different things, the more you have an understanding of that individual and where they exactly place within an organization.
Correct. And our models are learning as they go, right? As they get released, we have, rev one of these models, and then we see what people are doing with them and we can make modifications to those. But you're right. It's pretty neat to watch because, again, before we had to have a recruiter call out, ask questions, see if they're engaged, do this by a little bit of seat of their pants and experience. Well, we have that experience in mass, right? We have millions of drivers using our system and thousands of fleets using our system. So we're able to very quickly get that intelligence on how to sort it and how to engage the drivers. How to engage the fleet and show them that the drivers are paying attention and want to be there.
No, that's pretty cool stuff. So if I'm a carrier and I'm interested in this, how would I get a hold of you guys, or what avenue would I go to take it for a test drive?
Oh, great question. So there's a couple ways. If you're already a customer and you're looking to start to use our AI tools, ask your advisor. So you have a dedicated advisor that you can call and help out. If not, start right out at Tenstreet.com, or even I think maybe my email will be supplied. I'm happy to sort that a little bit. But by all means, call into us. We have a team that will help you out and get you started, give you a demo, let you try it out, whatever you need.
Well, that's awesome. I appreciate you coming on Cents Per Mile to share some of that information.
Hey, thanks for letting me be here.
At TAFS, we offer unparalleled trucking excellence and service. Enjoy exclusive benefits like fantastic tire discounts and 1-hour advances for quick cash. Recognized as the top factoring company in 2023, we're your partner for success. Access business loans, manage finances with ease through our client portal, F2 fuel card, and mobile app. Contact us now to see how we can help your trucking business thrive.
So now it's time for Make Sense, and we're doing a segment on AI in the cab. And there's no better person to have this conversation than James Year. He's a visual journalist and a producer. He did a wonderful video with More Perfect Union called We Chase Driverless Trucks in Texas.
This highway has a secret.
So we're here on I-45 in Palmer, Texas, just south of Dallas. We are on the lookout for a new invention that could potentially upend one of the largest industries in America. That invention, a driverless truck.
Driverless semi-trucks are now operating in
No one
Texas.
behind the wheel of a huge semi-truck.
The company Aurora launched service this
my
week.
heart is just palpitating thinking about this.
Aurora Innovation and several of their competitors have been using I-45 as a testing ground to prove a single point. They don't need drivers.
Well, it's going to be a catastrophe.
We are on the verge of a new era in trucking.
I mean, this is truly transformational technology.
And it's coming for your job too.
More jobs are lost through automation than they are through trade deals.
A robot comes into a factory, workers go away.
Robots could soon put together your next grocery order.
Many office jobs even.
The job you have today ain't going to be here in 10 or 15 years.
The question would be to the company, why do you need everything automated?
So, we came to Texas to witness the revolution for ourselves.
Every load that one of these driverless trucks take is a load that's being taken away from a driver.
We spent time with truck drivers talking about what this means for them.
I kind of am one of the last of the cowboys. We are truly a dying breed of people.
And find out how ready our roads and our society are for this change.
Have we done a good job of addressing the policy questions that need to be answered in order to successfully develop this to maximize the benefits of it? I think absolutely not.
This tech is coming. I mean, it's here now. But is there a way to make it work for us instead of against us?
It's all happening right here. Buckle up. We're heading out.
James, that video, when you made it, did you expect it to get as much momentum as it's had?
No, not even. Not like I didn't sleep for 2 or 3 days after that, because like this is actually the first story that I've ever like pitched and had it accepted, and like, you know, where I was like the main like driving force behind all of it. And so like for a first time video, for it to go viral like this, I don't know, like I don't want to compare myself to Oliver Anthony, but it feels like it's kind of like the similar thing, just based on the comment sections and stuff, where like everybody on the left and right seems to love it, and everyone seems to be on the same page, which is super good to see.
Yep, everybody's mad at the Richmond trying to replace the drivers, except for they're in Texas.
Well, that just for now anyway. But.
Yeah, and that's the thing. So I had the privilege of interviewing you on the debut episode of Trucking Sense, and the more you and I dived into it, the more it just seemed like a perfect union to have you on Cents Per Mile to talk about AI in the cab. So can you tell us about what led you to start this project and how long you've been working on it?
Yeah, so like I guess if you really want to go back to the origins of it and everything, I was like during COVID, or I was out in Ohio University working on a photojournalism master's degree, and then COVID happened. And I wasn't, going to do that degree and behind a Zoom screen, because that would be pretty worthless. So I got a job at the post office, and I read like 80 books in the span of like 10 months, just audiobooks when I'm out delivering mail and getting chased by dogs and stuff. And I started, that whole stereotype is a very real thing.
You must have delivered to my house where there's 3 German Shepherds that love the postal office.
So I still have a little bit of PTSD from that. But anyways, I read a ton of books, and a lot of it was like American history, civil rights, a lot of stuff going back to my sociology degree, just kind of get brushed up on stuff. And I started reading more on technology, and I got really interested in technology with the whole Edward Snowden thing, because all the Snowden stuff like 10 years ago was nuts. Everything. So I read a couple books. Like one was The Technology Trap by Carl Benedict Fry. There's a handful of others. And every single one of those books, The War on Normal People by Andrew Yang is the one that really kicked it off. But I kept noticing that all these books, they kept on talking about trucking. It's like, oh shit, AI and just technology is really difficult to photograph because you can't see the algorithm in your phone, but you can see a driverless truck going down the road. And it's in public infrastructure. I've got access to it. It's down in Texas. They got great barbecue down there. There's a lot of different reasons, but that was kind of like the main one. It's like, okay, I could actually do this.
So I want to put a pin in that. You are now my favorite guest as of this moment, because you got that funny face out of Paul when you said Texas has great barbecue.
You know what? I can't let it go for a lot of people. I'm going to let that go. We don't even have to touch it.
I mean,
that's how.
Yeah. Also, I'm a farm kid from Iowa, and like I'm kind of from the land where mayonnaise is considered a spice. So I'm still like
that checks out.
But
you just helped them defuse that comment, James. No, all right. So now that we got that out of the way, I had to adjust Paul's funny face during the barbecue comment. KC, they're second or third best, but
whoa. Okay, we don't have time. But if you're anywhere else, you can eat crap like Charles. Kansas City is the only real barbecue. Fight me. Let's go.
So AI in the cab. You got to chase these trucks around. You got to address an issue that's in the hearts and minds of a lot of today's drivers. People don't believe them, or they kind of think of them as wearing tinfoil hats when they're like, these trucks are going to replace us, so why should we give a crap? And so you built this, and it's got all this momentum. I think the last time I talked to you, you're up to over 3.5 million views on this documentary.
Between all the platforms, it's probably pushing 4 to 5. I don't have access to all the metrics and stuff, but just like what I've been seeing on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram and stuff, it's probably pushing over 4.
Safe to say it's a movement, and it resonates with a whole bunch of people that aren't even inside the cab, outside of the cab.
Well, and that's the perfect thing about the story too, is that even if you're not a driver, everybody's on the interstate, and everyone has to be around these things anyway. And it's like, at least down I-45 with what's going, recently, it's the general public's being involved in this too, and no one knows about it, or at least most people.
So it's crazy to me, being a former driver. I know all the ins and outs of the job and the things that you can and can't control. And they say, keep your head on a swivel and blah, blah, blah. You're 80,000 pounds driving down the interstate and public roadways with our wives, our kids, our family members, our friends, even the people I don't like drive down those roadways. We've also all had a iPhone or Android and watched it fail. We've watched ChatGPT fail. How many times do you give it a prompt and it does something you don't want and you can't get it right?
I have not had my iPhone fail, but as an Android user, I can appreciate your circumstance. Yeah.
Oh, we don't have time, Paul. My point being that we know that technology fails, but if that truck is going 60 plus miles an hour down the road with people on the road, when that fails, that could be devastating. It could be catastrophic.
Yeah.
It's got to be scary.
Yeah. And like, even in like when you go in and see like the rest of the video too, they're all talking. It's like, yeah, we can drive the casualty rate down to 0. And it's like, no, that's not, because like, you're always gonna have blown tires. You're always gonna have like some sort of unforeseen circumstance or whatever else. Like, there's never gonna be 100% perfection rate. And yeah, it's, it's early days. And the thing with any amount of technology is that the first time something happens, it's usually not very good. Like, the first light bulb sucked. Our tires still go flat. Like things wear out, they break. There's imperfections, all that kind of stuff. So like,
there's things that go on with the job. Like, there's the textbook job, and then there's actual execution.
Oh, yeah.
As a driver, I could tell you, per the textbook, if something enters my lane, my job is to maintain that lane. By all means, according to the textbook, I'm supposed to maintain my lane. But we do know from historical events that a lot of drivers run through this checklist in their head. Hey, if I maintain my lane, I'm going to hit that soccer mom. I'm going to hit this soccer mom. I'm going to hit that car. Or, hey, I'll sacrifice myself and take this chance going off road in the mountains. And hey, it's just me. Like, that sacrifice and choice is made time and time again by drivers.
Yeah, and that's
what's AI going to do?
If I would have to guess, I don't know the answer for what AI is going to do on that, but if I would have to guess, it's going to be programmed to mitigate the liability as much as possible. So, I'm not sure what that's going to look like or anything, but like, basically, like that decision, what you described, I don't know if you've heard about this, but it's on the ethical side of AI. That's referred to as the trolley problem, where someone's got to make a decision whether or not to pull the switch, to pull the trolley off to the left or right, and you've got say a stuck car with a wife and kid in there, and then on the other one there's a minivan that's stuck, that's full of a bunch of like 20 prisoners, right? If you were in that situation, which way do you get the trolley to go, right? So yeah, it's really hard to say what the
we are not going to answer that question on air because it's going to get spicy.
yeah, and like, and like, there's only a like I don't know, like, probably the best example of the trolley problem I've ever heard is that song from Long Haul Paul, the ballad of Pork Chop Honey, where he uses his truck as a human shield to save a road crew. And that would be like the example of just like derailing the trolley and just say, screw that whole situation, I'm going to find something else, But
yeah, and that's where option C, and you often see people on a daily basis when they're in those situations. The most often we hear those stories of heroism and all that, but it comes down to the self-preservation and what's important to you at your core helps make those decisions. You see people come up with option C all the time. Is AI capable of doing that? Certainly people have failed at those decisions, made the wrong one. Not every person in every situation is created equally. AI takes time to ramp up. It takes time to get proficient. Is it going to know how to adjust to a flat tire when it's going at full speed? Is it going to know what to do when a kid enters a roadway in front of a truck? And Who's responsible when it goes sideways?
Well, the liability issue is the key concern here, and that's what's really holding the industry back in a very major way. So, if I remember right, Aurora's own materials, like they put a driver back in the cab because of like some of those liability concerns, and also like there's some other stuff with the trucks that the OEMs were a little bit.
Wait, their solution was putting the driver back in the cab?
Yeah, they put the driver back in the cab, but if I remember right, don't quote me exactly on this because I don't have Aurora's materials in front of me right now. But yeah, they put a driver back in the cab, but apparently, like again, don't quote me. I could be wrong on this, but I think that if I remember right, they were instructed not to interfere with anything.
So is the driver responsible then and liable?
Well, if that's the situation, well, like that's kind of the whole thing here. You know, like if the driver's involved in that, overseeing the system, and something goes wrong, like they're not going to blame the technology. They're going to blame.
No, of course not.
Like,
the driver becomes the fall guy.
Yeah. No, it's a scapegoat type of thing.
That's a terrible job. How do you put that in a job? Hey, you are instructed to not interfere in any way. But if something goes wrong, it's not our technology's fault. You did something wrong, and you're probably going to go to prison for years for negligence.
I mean, I think at that point, it just sounds like gambling, you know, like, hey, but one thing real quick too, timelines, right? So a lot of times with, you know, autonomous trucks and stuff like that, people have been saying, oh, that's not even going to happen in our lifetime. You know, and obviously AI, a lot of people don't understand exponential growth and the way that it's getting better. And you and I actually bumped into each other a couple years ago at Matt's when you were kind of first starting trying to get stuff published, and you've been working on it. A lot of people aren't ready for that, to understand that. But now that, like, even our conversations we have been, like, me and you have been justified in the way that it's expanding and where it's going. From your experience doing that and your research, what do you think that timeline more realistically looks like?
Yeah, so the nice thing about publicly traded companies like Kodiak Robotics and Aurora and stuff is that like they have to like let the cat out of the bag a little bit, type of deal. But it sounded like you know, the liability is a major concern for a lot of these guys right now. But as far as like the OEM partnerships and stuff, whenever that gets taken care of and they really start getting orders coming in, you know, we're probably talking 2-3 years before the assembly lines really start spinning up on this. But that's for Class 8, you know, full trucks. There's also that other company that we had a brief snapshot of, which is Gatic AI, and they've had a partnership with Kroger and Walmart for a while, where they've been hauling driverless freight for years now, type of a thing. And they just partnered up with the Zuzu, and they're breaking ground very soon for a factory that's going to be starting to mass produce those things for I think they're Class 7 box trucks for like grocery stores and stuff, like little reefer trucks. They're going to be out in scale and numbers here in the next year or 2 years or something. But again, I don't have my materials in front of me right now. But yeah, it's going to happen soon, for sure.
No, that's crazy. So if you had to, you know, throw caution out there on any particular point of this, what's the biggest red flag that you think people need to be paying attention to?
You know, we could talk about the safety things. We could talk about like all the who's going to do what, like who's going to do the refueling and all that kind of stuff. The biggest thing is jobs, right? So like Chris Urmson was quoted in that video saying that it could be more than double the utilization rate. And, you know, if you start factoring that in, and if you have like, you know, 10,000 of those trucks, that's going to be able to do the work of 20,000 drivers, right? And then, you know, if you go even further back over to Detroit and what happened there, like a lot of the stuff that happened to Detroit, it was because of technology, and we don't talk about that a whole lot, but each one of those robotic arms, according to a guy out of MIT that dug into this, each one of those robotic arms replaced 6 people. And if we're talking about like good union paying jobs and stuff, like just do the math on that real quick and think about what those pay rates were and how much money that sucked out of our local tax bases and how much that increased all the people that stayed back in Detroit and what that did to their tax burden. It wasn't that long ago that they blew like a huge water main and flooded a whole bunch of neighborhoods over there, and that's a thing. Like what it's going to do to jobs, what it's going to do to employment. Like it's a pressure cooker for sure, and it's like it's not going to happen to trucking first, but with all the other crap that's going on, by the time it does happen to truckers, I don't know where y'all are going to go. Like, I don't even know what I'm going to do because I'm teaching photography in college right now, and I've got my students, so like a lot of them are animation majors, and they're freaking out about this too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, Paul and I would say trauma bonded because that requires mutual people to be bonding over the trauma.
Yeah.
But then recently there's AI recruiters, there's AI dispatchers, and I'm like, okay, now it's trauma bonding. Like,
yeah,
we're on a level playing field. We can all be replaced by AI.
Yeah. The only jobs that I know of that are really going to be really safe are social workers, and that's also
you're going to need lots of them.
Yeah, it's a pretty dark thing with where we're headed, I think. So it's whole other conversation.
Well, hey, they might come out with an AI social worker. You just have to listen.
Even I saw something too where people are more honest with AI counselors than they are with real people, which that's a whole other thing. Where even counselors could be getting.
They don't feel like they're being judged.
Well, that, and you're like speaking into a robot, and there's no guarantee or any amount of transparency to ensure that everything you're saying to either ChatGPT or your chatbot therapist isn't going to be used for like advertising or blackmail or whatever else, because we don't have any digital privacy rights whatsoever. Like, we're basically the commodity being mined, and we have no control over what our information.
How?
Which they just tried to pass a bill to not have any sort of regulation over.
Are you talking the big beautiful bill?
Yeah, it's like the parts in there that are about that.
Oh yeah, no, that bans every state from regulating AI for 10 years, and there's like virtually nothing at the federal level about any of this, driverless trucking included.
Which means they can just use the information however they see fit. In like 20, 30 years from now, someone could be continually blackmailed with the information because they used AI.
Yeah, and the capabilities that they have, just even with like just the basic stuff, is insane. We can dig into more of that later, but yeah, it like the more you dig into AI and robotics, like right now, like AI started off as business AI, and then like when ChatGPT came around, it kind of opened it up to the public. The phase that we're entering right now is physical AI, and then there's like swarm AI, and there's all this other kind of crap. But the other 800-pound gorilla in the room is quantum, and that's orders of magnitude weirder and scarier. Like Einstein called it spooky magic, and that's crazy shit.
It is spooky.
Yeah, and anyways, I don't mean to railroad the whole conversation here, but
Oh, that's fine. That's what we need, is an AI that's doing something completely different when you look at it versus when you're not. But we do spooky action, right? So so with that, like we are about out of time. So if anyone wants to get a hold of you and ask you a bunch of questions because they're terrified, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
Fastest and easiest way is just going to be through Instagram. I'm kind of at the point where I'm about to get rid of all the rest of my social media, but it's Yearjames, YEARJAMES. And if you want to check out the website for the original project, which also has links to the awesome documentary that More Perfect Union helped me put together, you can find that at stealingfire.tech and on More Perfect Union's YouTube channel.
Awesome. Well, appreciate you coming on Cents Per Mile and helping us terrify everyone about being replaced by AI. And like all good things that got to come to an end, like our jobs. I'm your host, Charles Gracie. Thanks for tuning in to Cents Per Mile.
And I'm your co-host, Paul Gibson. I'll see you next time. Till I don't. This is existential. All right, next time, guys.